And this is a hidden identity game about completing jobs and trying to avoid the police. Mostly because each player is going to be dealt a hidden identity at the start of the game, and that's going to tell you whether or not you are loyal to the crew, or if you want to try and get them caught by the police, or to try and take all the money for yourself. There is also the chance that everyone is loyal, so you don't always know what exactly you're going to end up with from game to game. But essentially the way that this game works is that there's going to be a whole bunch of different jobs out on the table, and players are going to be trying to complete these jobs in order to gain money. But at the start of your turn, you're going to be drawing a resource card into your hand, and these resource cards are going to have icons on them, which you're going to be using to try and complete these jobs, because each job is going to have a number of different icons, and you're going to be spending those resource cards in order to fulfill the requirements of this job, which will give you the opportunity to complete it, because there is more to it. But luckily, if you don't have enough icons, a lot of these jobs do allow you to invite other players as part of your crew, and any players that accept are able to contribute any of their resource cards towards completing that job. And whether or not you are loyal, if you have those cards, then you must contribute them. But the active player does have a few options on their turn, and they can choose not to complete a job. And if that's the case, then all the players are just going to be drawing one resource card into their hand, and it's going to be moving on to the next player. But if the player does want to complete a job, there's actually 3 different jobs that you can choose to complete. There is the solo jobs, which you'll just be trying to attempt on your own. And then there are the small jobs, which require at least 2 players to complete. And then there are the big jobs, which require at least 3. Each of the jobs does have a reward that will be given to the active player, as well as any of the crew that was able to complete it, assuming that they are able to successfully complete that job. But if they aren't able to meet the requirements of those icons, then that job just fails, nothing happens, and it just moves on to the next player. But if they are able to meet those icon requirements, the job is not quite a success yet, because, of course, committing all these jobs isn't exactly legal, and the police might show up to thwart your efforts. Each of the players starts the game with an all clear card, as well as a police presence card, and once a job is successfully completed, all the players that were involved in that job are then going to be contributing one of those cards into a pile, and then you're also going to be drawing one randomly from a deck and throwing it in that pile as well. If any one of those cards shows up as a police presence card, then the job is failed, and that police presence card remains in play for the rest of the game. And if 5 of those show up in the game and one player is playing as the informant, then they will win the game. Otherwise, it's the players that reach $15,000 that win the game, and multiple players can win the game at once, because you can make negotiations with the other players in order to bring them on jobs so that you time it appropriately so you all hit that 15K mark at the same time. Unless you're the informant, because if any other player wins with you, then you lose the game. So you're going to want to try and get to that 15K mark on your own, or get 5 of those police cards out on the table. Another great looking game here, and if this one sounds interesting to you, you can find a link to the campaign in the description below.